share prayer first.
Where would you like me to stand?
Wherever, yeah.
Not where you like my Are you comfortable standing for prayer, or would you prefer to sit? Stand up.
Sure.
Creator God, we give you thanks, oh God, for the blessing that you give to us. We thank you for the blessing of being able to share in the life and the work of this fine community. We thank you for the cloud of witnesses that have gone before us, those who lead and inspire us. We give you thanks, oh God, for those who serve on this day and those who live their lives in ways to inspire new people to come forward. This is a vibrant community, rich with family values, and we thank you, O God, for the blessing of this community and the opportunity to serve. We pray that on this night, as folks gather, that you be with us at these tables, that you be with us in our breathing, that you be upon the words that form on our lips, that you be upon the words that we hear. And we pray that your wisdom may guide us and inspire us as we seek to do your will and the will of this fine community. In your Son's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. And I probably want I'll notice that you all turn your cell phones off to vibrate, please. At this point, I'd like to call it a public hearing. Bylaw number 11-01, the ranch phase, 5 and 7, R1 to R1N. Purpose of this public hearing, the purpose of the bylaw 1101 is to amend the land use district map amendment as follows: to change the land use designation from phase 5 and 7 of the ranch from R1 residential single detached district to R1N residential narrow lot single family district for a portion of southeast quarter 14, 24, 25 west of the 4th, as shown on the attached Schedule A. Any confirmations of this notice?
Your Worship, bylaw 11-01 was advertised on February 16, 2011 and February 23, 2011 in accordance with Section 606 of the Municipal Government Act.
Thank you. And you're going to do the report from the development officer also?
Yes, Your Worship. This request is to change the existing land use designation from R1 residential single detached district to R1N residential narrow lot single family district and P1 public service district. What is being proposed are lot sizes that range from 40 to 48 feet from the original 90-foot original land use designation of R1. It should be noted that the purpose of the redesignation is whether the designation is in keeping with adjacent land uses and that issues of conditions can only be placed on the proponent at the subdivision and development permit stages. Also, administration is bound by the outline plan as such, although it appears to be an increase in density, it is still consistent with single detached homes. The redesignation is consistent with their approved concept plan as single detached homes. There were no issues from the agencies we circulated this application to. However, there were 2 letters in opposition from adjacent residents. One had 3 additional neighbors or families sign their letter, and 2 other letters from adjacent landowners also in opposition to this proposal were sent to the developer. In summary, the main issues were decreasing land values, request of a sound wall, increased density is not suitable for the town, the site has been unkept for quite some time, especially along for the neighbors along Parkland Drive. And the main issue is dust control. There has been some damage to existing properties, and there are noise issues. With the proposed logging scheme that the developer provided for this application, they are proposing 5.1 units per gross acre. We calculated that from the original information from the developer, noting that they wanted to put 101 units across the 19.74 acres that's in question. It is less than the town's target of 6.5 units per acre. Recommendation from staff is to approve the redesignation as it is consistent with the original concept plan, and issues surrounding the site will be addressed concurrently with the application of subdivision, and as well be addressed at the subdivision process through a development agreement and complaints as they arise.
Thank you. So we read the written submissions. Any questions from council at this point? Not. Persons wishing to be heard. Mary, you? You is it pronounced? I'm sorry.
It's you.
You.
Paul will be speaking.
Thank you. Paul Douglas, United Communities.
Just got a few things to set up. Figure out a minute. We have copies of basically the presentation, but we also have some boards that just makes it easier for everyone to see the images that are contained in the folder.
I would like to ask, raise a hand. How many folks are here in regards to this particular subdivision? Can you raise your hand? Okay, thank you.
I've got 4 images here I can copy for you.
Dick?
Okay, so, Your Worship, members of council, my name is Paul Douglas. I work for United Communities. We are the applicant for the rezoning. I'd just like to add to administration's report that we are requesting rezoning at this time with subdivision to come further down the road. And so we made some assumptions around numbers of lots, but it's not a sort of final number. That's a process that we envision working with administration and the stakeholders going through to finalize the actual lot layout for the time of subdivision. But for the meantime, I just wanted to stress that we're simply looking at rezoning for the time being. So basically, the ranch is on the east side of town here. We've got the rezoning is this northeastern portion of land currently zoned R1, representing about 85 lots if it were R1 and 50 feet. So what I wanted to mainly do though is just address some of the issues that have come up in the letters that council, the administration has received, and primary issues are, one of the big things with our site has been dust, and dust affecting primarily people along Park Lane Drive. We know this, that's been a problem. In the past, we've tried several different things over the years. The application of water through water trucks. We spread a whole bunch of tackifier out here last year, which was supposed to help with the problem. Helped for a while, it didn't seem to work. We've done some minor seeding, helped again for a while, but didn't solve the overall problem. So what we're proposing to do is, this year, we've circulated a letter. We contacted a local company called BJ Enterprises who has done some work with the town or in the town before relating to dust control. We've they've come with a proposal to reseed or seed this whole area with a cereal crop that will grow early and should be really the key to reducing dust this year. There are some areas where it would be hard to see just given the hills and things, so there'd have to be some either hand seeding, which what we probably hand seed those areas. What we did was we just sort of put that proposal on a letter and circulated it to the residents of Park Lane Drive, and we subsequently had another meeting with, we had one resident show up just to talk a bit more about what we can do and what their concerns are. Another concern that has come up is there's some ponding that takes place primarily in this area here, which is as a result of just sort of the grade that happened. I've talked to the WID and it sounds like we can actually put it into the trickle ditch that's right here. And if we can't do that, we're committing through our letter to the residents to come up with an alternative solution to get what those ponds, they kind of happen early in the summer, and then by the end of the summer they've evaporated. So it's a mosquito issue and it's maybe a foot deep of water, but we are committed to taking measures to getting that water out of there so it's no longer a nuisance. And then the other sort of main concern that came up through the letters that were received and discussions we've had with people is reduced land values being a concern. And I think we just, our feeling about that is that that concern ought to be mitigated by the fact that we're not changing the architectural controls at all for the whole site. So currently, the architectural controls that we have for all of the ranch have minimum house sizes that are greater than the R1 bylaw minimum. So that would still be the case, so that the smallest house that could go on these lots would be bigger than what would be allowed on an R1 lot anywhere else in town by virtue of what the architectural controls have. Same with exterior finishes and that kind of thing like that. The architectural guidelines will not be downgraded because of the smaller lot size. So the reason we want to do this is simply because we can get more affordable product through a reduction in the overall land size for a lot, but we're not taking away from the product of the house. And then, when we're talking, we also, from the start, have committed to providing lots backing onto a green space at the north end. We'll keep those big lots, they're pie lots anyways, so when you measure their width, they'll be greater than 50 feet at the midpoint of the lot, which is pretty much where the width is taken based on the Strathmore bylaw. And then same thing, so the periphery has some bigger lots or smaller, but these are, where big lots and small lots all fall is a process that we'll work with administration towards coming back for subdivision. And so there's another opportunity, I guess, to debate where, if this is approved, where the actual lot sizes would go. So in most cases, though, a 40-foot lot would accept the houses, would fit the houses that are currently being built here as well. And builders, the one builder that we have that's done the majority of lots is, in fact, proposing to use many of the same house plans that they currently make available. So the net effect is a slightly smaller lot with the same house that's currently being done out there for the most part. One of the things that came up too was just that we've been working exclusively with Calgary builders, and I just wanted to mention that that is not the case. We've never excluded anybody from purchasing a lot in the ranch, and to date there's been 11 lots purchased by either local builders or local individuals who've gone and found a builder wherever that builder came from. Outside of Lifestyle Homes, who's currently the builder that's built the most houses, and they are from Calgary. But even today, there are lots still available in Phase 3 to anybody, whether they be from Calgary or Strathmore. Those are sort of the main issues, and then I just wanted to be available to answer any questions that may come from council.
Council?
I'm going to assume then that the houses you're going to be building on there would have garages attached to them.
Yeah, sorry.
If we're dealing with the same kind of residences for an R1.
These are images of houses which are also in the package of. These are lots in Okotoks that were within a development that we did, And most of these are 46-foot lots, front drive garage. And currently, though, the R1 land use bylaw and the architectural guidelines for the R1 lots, you can have a side drive, so actually a garage at the back of the lot. But then you have to have, if you do that, you have to have a full veranda at the front and some other things. Excuse me, we haven't seen anyone do that. And then you would run into, let's say you had a 44-foot lot or 42-foot lot, you probably couldn't fit that on there, the side drive. You'd run out of room to do that, so you'd have to have a front attached garage.
And my second question is, obviously you folks are committed to this, and the plans all call for a park or some parkway on the north end of your property. Is that correct?
That's correct. It's not actually shown on the current drawing that is in the package, but the north end would have. That's why this picture is here, actually. What you have here is a park with a 3-meter path, and about probably 3 meters on either side. So that's about a 10-meter wide green space with a path. When we got the concept plan approved, we had said that we would have nothing less than 10 meters between the back of Park Lane Drive houses and then the back of whatever houses we have there. Now, we're still not changing any of the road layout, so what we're showing is 3 cul-de-sacs. So you have 3 pinch points of 10 meters and then it widens out. So the minimum would be this sort of width, and then there's areas because of the nature of the cul-de-sacs, which you can see in, actually, in this picture.
What is that, 3?
I don't know, is it in here? Yeah, it's the one with the sort of,
Yeah.
in there, it's those,
Yeah.
so the narrowest parts there are 10 meters and then it would be bigger.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. So I think I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway. Is there any way that, and I know this isn't scheduled to commence at the very earliest 2012, is there any way that you could put that green space in this year?
I mean, we just built this park on the side here with the soccer fields and with the
Nice
soccer
job on that,
association. We've done a bunch of work there. There's some technical issues too, because there is infrastructure under it, primarily stormwater catch basins that's why there's currently a bit of ponding and stuff there. One development is in that area. There's catch basins that would take that water, put it into the pipe stormwater system. It all ends up in the pond that's over by the Strathmore AMC.
Well, I appreciate the difficulties you encounter with that. It's just something to get things moving, and it would certainly help with the soil erosion and the dust. I would imagine there, and maybe connect that Park Lane residents to the ranch area in a more congenial manner. But I understand the issues you're thinking.
Yeah, and I think the only other thing is that it would need to be subdivided. There's some more processes that would have to take place in terms of subdivision, which we're not asking for, to draw that line in the sand, so to speak. And, I think, what we are proposing, we have put in a letter that we have made available to administration is as a dust management plan that should result in a significantly better experience in living next to this project, because what's happened is, one, things haven't progressed as quickly, especially in the last 2 years, so we've been slow to move through where we thought we'd be further along than we are, so that hasn't helped things. I think the completion of the soccer field is going to eliminate a lot of the source of dust, and then if we see the balance, and we're still going to have it's still a development site, so there's still going to be some working areas required, but in the letter, which I can give you guys a copy of too, we're proposing to manage that, contain any truck traffic that goes in there, so trucks are no longer have the sort of run of the site to kick up dust. And I've also gone through the process of the reason there was a lot of truck traffic back and forth is we stockpiled some fill on this site to deal with low lots in phase 3. Well, we put dirt on those lots so that no longer do they have to go get it in a truck and come back. Now it's just dirt in piles straight on the lot. Which makes it a little more unwieldy as a builder to sort of manage that, but that's fine. It's no longer are they having to drive out and pick up some of the dust. So I think we believe we proposed something that will work and something that the town can have as recourse with it too, saying here's what you said you would do and hold us to it. We have tried other things in the past, but this is by far the most comprehensive proposal in terms of dust.
Councillor Hamlin?
Yeah, just to back up a little bit, you're saying that the lots are going to be smaller, but the houses will be the same size as in the other phases. Would they, having driven through there, would they be similar in size and structure, presumably to the house backing on or on Park Lane Drive itself?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is similar to what's there, being similar to what's being built in phase 3 of our development. So those are, I mean, there's a lot of variety, hard to totally generalize, but yeah, I think they're pretty similar in terms of square footage of what you might find on Park Lane Drive. I don't know what the average square footage of a house being built in phase 3 is, but what's happening now is a house that's, say, 2,000 square feet with side yards of a certain size. If 2 feet come off either side, you still meet the minimum side yard requirements. It's not necessarily, we're not running into problems with lot coverage through the reduction. Like oftentimes, they're offsetting the garages more so that they don't have an overly big side yard. So they just, I think that the houses are largely the same. They can even use the same plans in a lot of cases and just put it on a different size lot. But it would be similar in size to square footage, I believe, to what is on Park Lane today.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Best?
Yeah, I'm skeptical of the dust program you have, and I'll tell you why. Because 2 years ago, when it was so dry here, we were almost running out of water in our reservoirs. You'll have to do substantial irrigating in order to, if you're going to make those crops grow and to keep the soil down, to keep the dust down. If we have a dry year, I'm very skeptical that's going to cause any type of significant difference. Again, if we have a year like last year, yes, that may work, but then those ponds, I don't know how you're going to keep them empty. I worry about that. That's where most of the complaints that I hear are coming from. That and the smaller lots, yikes. I'm not even going to go there. It drives me crazy.
Just for clarity for the audience who's here too, I think it should be understood that the prior council has entered into an agreement with the Calgary Regional Partnership to look at smaller lot sizes, R1N1 homes, to hopefully cut down on urban sprawl and expansion of properties. That being said, I have worries and I have a lot of concerns when people have bought their homes expecting one thing, and then there's a change to it where it goes from R1 to R1M. So that bothers me. I guess I want to make sure north and south, are you saying that there will be a substantial green space separating your new R1N from the prior?
Yeah, so back when the overall concept plan was approved, we were directed more or less to make sure that there was green space sort of interspersed throughout. We took a lot of it away and put it at the north end, that'd be a buffer between at the time, there was no other existing lots. There's just Park Lane. So between parts, a lot of the green space went to between Park, and that's where I'm saying there's a minimum 10-meter wide green space area that could or could not have a path in it. I mean, that's a decision to be made through, what the town's master pathway plans are and things like that. But and then it widens out, in fact, so it will appear in a lot of areas it will be bigger than the 10-meter area. On the south side, there is already a green strip built that's approximately, probably almost 10 meters wide itself. It was built as a part of phase 3. There's a pathway in that, and so there's a green division on the south side. On the west side, there's the soccer fields, and then on the east side, you have East Boundary Road. And we are not reducing. In fact, well, whatever, the lots that back onto the north they're pie lots, let's say they're 48 feet at 9 meters back, which is sort of the standard measurement. According to the bylaw, then they're going to be wider than 50, so they will be big lots on that northern boundary.
On the northern end.
So that you wouldn't look at a smaller lot.
My second question is, if the homes themselves are the same size as on an R1 lot, what does that do as far as when they're on a smaller lot, as far as proximity to other homes all in that subdivision? You know, I'm concerned about a home that's 1,500 square feet on a smaller lot. Is it going to bring it so that it's in too close proximity all the way through the subdivision? I'm concerned for things like fire.
Yeah. So the minimum side yard in the R1 bylaw is approximately 5 feet. It's in meters, so it's in our guidelines, we have a minimum side yard that matched that at 5 feet. With the R1N bylaw, the minimum side yard is down to 4 feet, but we're not changing that in our guidelines. So what we're saying is they've got to, if the lot gets smaller, they can't reduce the side yard in accordance with the bylaw through our guidelines. We're saying you have to maintain a 5-foot side yard. So the closest any house can be to the next house would be 10 feet. Which is no less than currently is the case. Now, what happens today is either there's a bigger side yard just because there's more room, or sometimes maybe the garage and the house are sort of offset. And so there can be some movement there without changing the size of the house or the garage. That takes up that difference without changing the side yard. So,
Councillor Brennan, or have you that's it? Councillor Buell?
Yep. Thank you, Your Worship. Regarding side yard setback on R1 and R1N, I believe is the same. No difference. That's all, it's 5 feet.
okay.
So if you want to put the same size of home on an R1N lot as you do in an R1 lot, I'm just wondering how you're going to do that and maintain a 5-yard side yard setback.
So what's currently happening is they're not running into the minimum problem when they build a house. Like the typical house that's going into their ranch has more than 5-foot side yards. Or if it's 5 feet, sometimes they have the garage very much offset, so they can have the garage and the house overlap slightly more, not impact the side yard. Or they can build the exact same footprint because they maybe had 8-foot side yards or something before, and they still get the same house on there and don't impact the 5-foot, minimum. So in most cases, I think we're beyond 5 feet in the current R1. So when the market, the builder's got a lot, the house that they're building 1,500 to 2,300 square foot houses on average, and in most of their plans, that same house can be built on a 40-foot lot or obviously anything in between without that problem arising of the 5-foot side yard.
Thank you.
The issues I have are certainly, I'm concerned about the size, but we're going to address that in a bit. The two things that I'm really concerned about is I've seen some pictures that were just absolutely disgusting last year with these people that had to put up with the dust. It just should not and will not happen this year. You people are going to do that. I'm really concerned about that. There are legumes out there and I come from southern Saskatchewan where there's no rain ever, and there are legumes out there today that will grow up virtually in desert. So you can't give me the story that, it won't grow. So you better be planting something that is going to stop the dust control. That is a must. The water issue, I think, has been addressed. It can go into those other little creeks.
Yeah, if you can't go in there, then what we're saying is we'll have to cut a ditch and get it out of there.
Yeah, I mean, that's a mosquito issue, and also a safety hazard for the community.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, I see piles of dirt there. Why can't those be leveled before you start doing your planting to make it aesthetically pleasing for the neighborhood? We have to look at that for the last 2 years already, and that shouldn't have been, You people are concerned about our community also. That should have been leveled already. We shouldn't have to be discussing that issue. It should have been leveled already. So I asked those to be leveled, and the rezoning, I'm of the nature that, I can accept that it meets the guidelines, and I respect that, and not to take it lightly, but I know what the neighborhood does. I don't think by what you committed to, it's not going to address the value of the neighborhood. But those are my thoughts, and the roadway too, going to the soccer field, is that going to be done this year, or is there a roadway going there?
Okay, so where the asphalt currently ends, we're going to put in, the roadway has actually a sewer line that goes in it that would be built with the next phase, and there's part of the park lane bypass that will come. So we can't build the asphalt, but we're going to put a temporary gravel parking area in so that people have a spot to access the soccer field from. It'd just be, they'll be able to go from the gravel to the grass sort of thing. That's a part of the plan for the year. And then with the dust, I mean, that's why we went to Barbie J, who does have some experience with this. I guess they have a seed drill that can do kind of more uneven ground. It's not a huge thing. It takes a little longer, but that's okay. They can deal with some uneven ground and things like that. And what they're saying is that the cereal crop that they're proposing, as long as it gets started and going, you got the roots in the ground and you have some, some growth above ground. Even if you do get a dry spell or even a really dry year, those roots are going to fix the soil, and then the upper stuff breaks the wind, so it, really reduces that issue. And, that's why we went, we know it's a problem, and we knew that was going to come this year anyways. I mean, this rezoning application has brought it to the fore. So we're here, we've contracted them basically to help us get that under control this year. We still do need, I would say, a loam pile though. Any development's got to have a place to have a bit of loam. So wherever we can level piles, and for the most part, anything that's near the residents can be taken to a level state now. And part of Barbie J's proposal is to first go around and brush up the site and get rid of some of the rocks so that they can run their equipment through it in order to effectively do it. So that is a part of what they're proposing to do.
Okay, thank you. No other further questions from council? I will allow anybody, one person, a spokesperson from the audience, if there is one that's going to speak to a very short issue. Does anybody want to speak to the matter? Go ahead.
I actually have
Can you state your name, please?
Is it Arsenault? I actually live behind a pile of dirt, and not only do I find it's extremely ugly, and the dust is a huge issue. I have children, very small children too. And the other thing is that I actually manage Western Canada from my home, and that noise starting at 6:30 in the morning is one of the biggest issues I have on top of the dust. So I would like to know, one, if you have an end date, and for me, having a smaller houses means longer construction, which means that if you add on 15, 20 houses, instead of finishing in 1 or 2 years, then we're going on for 5, 6 years. And already, in the 4 years I've been there, that my house has been for sale and it's not going anywhere, I've lost about $60,000 on it.
Okay, well, if I can answer.
Yeah.
I just would like to, part of what I didn't say was the big loam pile, which is the darker one, we've been speaking with some of the residents, we realize it's got some hard edges and things like that. We need to smooth it out, and we can seed the back of it, certainly, that faces Park Lane, so that, one, it helps eliminate dust, and if you get some grass around there, it'll look better. Part of that, though, is managing how people access it when they need to get them out of it so that it doesn't just take away all the seed that's been put on there. So that's something that we've discussed with some of the residents about doing, and that's something we can do and are willing to do. And in terms of, it's our belief that actually lot sales will go a little bit quicker because people are coming to the builders and they, a matter of a couple $1,000s is the difference between a sale happening and not. And this is one way to just make it a little easier to get some velocity going there. And 15 lots I think represents 9% increase of what was there before, and so it's not even, so we're looking at a kind of a 5-year, hopefully sooner is sort of how we look at it.
10 years. So we're looking at 10 years of construction. 10 years of my life that's going to hear your trucks and your gear. And I have to pressure wash my house every other week. 10 years.
Well, no, I'm sort of saying, we think it's going to be 5, but
5 on
pardon
top
me.
of the 4.
Oh, okay.
That makes 10 years.
And things are not going as quickly as we'd like, but I think part of why we want to do this is because we believe it will accelerate the pace of development. I also didn't address we tell all our builders and they need to tell their trades and subcontractors that they have to follow the bylaws of the town of Strathmore. So if they're not, I need to get on top of them, and I'll remind them of what those are, the noise bylaws, when they can start construction.
7 o'clock on your day off is really early. I understand that there's laws and everything, but there has to be a way to put a sound wall or something there for the dust and for the noise. Because I know you want to sell, but so do I. See? And I'm not selling with this situation right now. Because when they come and visit my house and get on my deck, my beautiful deck, on the $60,000 I already lost, I'm still not selling because they see what you're doing in the back.
If I may interject here, I think you made your point, but secondly, I would like to say that, there's been an economic downturn. Everybody has lost $50,000 to $60,000 in their house. We all know that. As far as asking to put up a sound wall, that is economically impossible. There's asking, you can ask for some things, but there's some things we can ask for just too much of. And as far as stopping the dirt, they promised to make a commitment on doing it. We all want it to sell fast. Everybody would like it to get in and out here in 2 years. But we can't make that happen if the people aren't there to buy it. That's just the way life is, and they're not stalling because they want to be here. They like to get up and get going and make go on to the other subdivision. There's things we just out of our control is what I'm saying. So I think everybody's had a chance to say their thing. I would ask for a motion to have the public hearing adjourned and move on from there.
I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
All in favor? Carried. And bylaw number 11-02, Strathmore Lakes Estates, portion of southwest quarter 1524-25 and southeast quarter of 1524-25, redesignate from R2 to R2X and UR. Call this meeting to order. It's bylaw number 11-02. Administration.
The bylaw was advertised on February 16, 2011 and February 23, 2011 in accordance with Section 606 of the Municipal Government Act.
Thank you. Any notices of confirmation?
Sorry, those were the notices. Your worship.
Development officer report from development.
Right. This is an amended proposal where the initial request was for R3 and R2X redesignation. There was concern over the proposed densities at the time, thus the change in request to R2X and R2. Right now, it's difficult to determine at this stage for the exact units per acre. But we generally looked at the intensity to range from 6.18 units to 14.5 units. Again, it's very difficult at this stage to determine exactly what will be on site, but that's the low end and the high end. There is likely a higher probability to be on the lower end of the side of things because of the fact that usually there will be some land taken out for roads, as well as the fact that trying to put that many units, especially at the minimum lot sizes, is very difficult to achieve, in addition to the allowable 10% taken out for a municipal reserve. There will be additional engineering studies required at the subdivision stage, and once the densities have been a little bit more solidified, that's when whether or not the engineering issues such as water, stormwater, etc. will be addressed. But again, we're just looking at the redesignation phase of this application. The proposal is consistent with the proposed land uses in the West Creek concept plan. However, there are some R1s to the south adjacent to the R2 and R2X areas, mainly on the west side of the proposed site. There were 2 letters in opposition. One was signed by 9 other families in the area. The main concerns were higher density, the change in the outline plan and proposed inconsistencies with it, decrease in green space, and decrease in property values. Your Worship, I also wish to apologize that we did not note that there are 2 people who had requested to be heard, and those are from the proponent side. And it looks like there's probably some other adjacent residents that would like to speak tonight as well during the public hearing.
Thank you. You all have seen the copies of the letters attached. Any questions on those, Council? I'd like to hear from the representative of the developer first, if that's possible. Do you wish to speak to? Council? Please.
Thank you, Your Worship, members of council, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Peter Mulick, and I represent Strathmore Lakes Estates / Mr. Al Bertram. Unfortunately, Al cannot make it tonight. He has some business and traveling. Excuse me. I've read the comments from the staff report, etc., and recognize the concerns that some of the residents have expressed. Parkland seems to be one of them. The previous gentleman indicated their parkland being a minimum of 10 meters. We do have one little area in the northeast corner that is a 10-meter small, or a 10-meter green space between the proposed R2 area and the R1 and R2 area that is in existence there. In respect to the southwest corner of the property, we have 15 meters. It does pinch to 8.4 meters where the cul-de-sac dead ends at the street and dead ends before crossing the green space and into what would be the proposed R2 area that's being requested here tonight. Would also indicate to council that in terms of further setback, I believe that the backyard setbacks in the R2 area would be about 7 meters. So in essence, and then if you take the 1.5 or 5 feet side yard, we've got 1.5 meters, 15 meters, and 7 meters. So we're talking in the order of some, 60 feet thereabouts between an R1 building and a potential R2 building. Staff has brought up a couple of engineering matters. We are aware of those matters, and as staff has indicated, they will be dealt with at a subdivision stage. In terms of right now, we don't have council's approval for the rezoning, so we're not sure what we're truly dealing with, and that will affect water, sewer, storm, etc. But the developer is aware of those requirements. Some work has been done on some of it. It's been suspended pending the land use designations that are in front of council tonight. So we're hoping the council agrees with the proposal in front and as for the staff reports and recommendation, and we request your support for the rezoning.
Thank you. At this point, I would like to ask any persons wishing to be heard who do not have a written submission, okay? Anybody that does not have a written submission? Anybody wishing to be heard? Yes?
My name is Bevan Gavin. We live at the end of the cul-de-sac. With my wife, thank you, by the way, for the opportunity from council to be heard on this particular issue. I'm not sure that it's fair for me to speak for all of our neighbors and the residents in the area, though we've had many conversations about this over the last number of months. And had also the opportunity to talk with Al and Carol in the office. They were kind enough to talk with us after not being able to make the kind of public forum meeting that we were able to have. A lot of us travel and are busy with work, and sometimes those things don't work out. I think the issues for many of us in this area stem from the history of this area, and as council is well aware, I think probably the intention when this was first developed and set up. As you are aware, there are architectural controls in this area, minimum house sizes, square footage, 1,400 square feet, architectural controls as far as what the face of our homes look like, the amount of stone that needed to be present, what they look like from the back facing the canal, setbacks, and all those kinds of things as well. Within those architectural controls as well, within this area at the time, many of us were paying lot prices that were among the highest in Strathmore at that time. And this area was sold to us as, I don't want to use the word upscale, because effectively that's what it was. With higher value homes, Strathmore Lakes Estates, the name applies something there as well. So as we move ahead, we've gone through an economic downturn. We understand that things have changed from an economic perspective. It seems less likely that the kinds of homes that have been built up to the end of our development can continue in construction and for the developer to have any hope to be selling those homes as they move on, and that makes sense. Given that upon the purchase of our homes, our lots, and the plans at that time that were available that identified a very large green space in this area, we're talking of a change to, in some cases, an 8-meter pinch and 15 meters and those kinds of things. Originally, that green space was much, much larger. It's hard to determine from the plans that we received at the time, but I don't think it would be crazy to say that's more like a 50-meter green space or larger. So, given that we have architectural controls in our area, given that we have had to abide by those when we're building our homes and moving in, and given now that we're looking at a redesignation of zoning in an area so close to our homes that it makes you ask the question, why were any of those controls in place to begin with? If there was a look and feel for the neighborhood that we were looking for, that the developer mandated, that town council approved, why would we be looking at changing the zoning of an area so close as to be basically in our side yards and closer than our neighbor's side yard in fact. So again, it was very kind of Alan Carroll to see some of us that were not able to make those meetings and have a very frank conversation with them. At that time, we talked about exactly the things that we're talking about now. And we talked about options to potentially deal with some of those concerns. If there is a zoning change, of course, that's a decision council has to make. The issues, I think, within our neighborhood, certainly speaking for myself, and there may be others that we can address this too, that we would be interested in some degree of separation that makes a little more sense, I think, to neighbors. And perhaps other ways to separate what is a community with larger homes, larger lots, whether it's a large street area in between, something that looks like the area at least ends, or we have some kind of a transition, as opposed to an abrupt interjection of a different kind of home. People talk about having their property values affected, and we've all been through some effects in the last number of years of the way the economy has gone. What we see is the potential effects from this kind of a close separation, or not enough of a separation, we see as not necessarily necessary, given we've all taken a bit of a shock lately with our home values. This one doesn't seem like one that is necessary to do if we change the finding a little bit. Allow for a little bit more separation, maybe allow for a slightly larger park area, maybe more trees, to a little bit more of a transition.
Thank you very much for your respectful comments. Any questions from council?
Yeah.
Councilor Rempel.
Thank you, Worship, and thanks, Devin. I gather from what you're saying, you're not opposed to the zoning change, providing there's a buffer, a little more than just a green space. Something like you indicate, maybe trees. Did I understand that correctly?
I'm a little uncomfortable speaking for the large group here. That's certainly how. I mean, there are realities. So our economic situation now, and with housing and home purchases and building, is very different than it was 5 years ago. And certainly, we respect Al and Carol and the planning that they need to do to make money as a business. That's part of the way life works. But basically, yes, somehow we need to figure out a way to provide a larger area of separation, to provide some distinction between what are two very different areas in the city. That would make sense to me. And based on some conversations I've had with some of the neighbors in our area, that seems to resonate with them too. Okay.
So what you're saying then is you're not opposed to the zoning change, providing that at subdivision stage or development stage, that become a condition for trees or some type of buffer to be implemented at that time.
The zoning change, I think, is not our first choice. It's also, I'm not sure it's something that we're going to be able to avoid, what's happening. I think it bears mentioning, some of us have lived in the area now for, I think this summer will be coming up on maybe the 4th summer, so 3.5 years to 4 years. We're anxious, I think, to see our area completed, to see the parks the park spaces that are there to be completed, whatever that looks like. I don't think I haven't seen any plans for those areas. I don't know if there's trees or what's going in there, but I don't think we would like to see the area, this green space area, this transition zone, left to the same length of time. It would be good to see that cleaned up. You've heard some residents from other parts of the city tonight about loam piles and other areas, and we've had some similar things, and I think we've always felt that the developer has been fair, and he has basically always kept his word. He's operated on his own time schedule for some of these things, but I think we'd also like to see those things dealt with as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I have one question for administration, and I'm just wondering if we have a plan on file that shows a larger green space area for that particular area.
The original plan?
We don't seem to have that copy.
Apparently there is. Thank you. Councillor Beth?
Devin, you said you had spoken to Alan Carroll without getting into any privacy issues. I was just wondering if you could summarize what his answers to your questions were as far as the issues that he brought to us tonight.
Well, I think he understood. I think Carol and Al both understood, what our perspective was. I think he wanted to make clear what his financial concerns were as well, too. At that time, we talked about keeping that transition zone as large as was possible. We talked about putting, a large tree area through there, or maybe, a walking path connecting the canal walking area down to Strathmore Lakes.
Was he receptive to that?
He didn't seem to be not receptive to that, but it was something, and as a businessman, a developer, he has to make sure he's not going to promise something he can't deliver. So he was going to take those things back to his, I think his architect and some of his development team to see what would be possible. At that time in the conversations with our neighbors, people felt that they had a large all tree area so that as you come into our neighborhood, you see something green and big at the end of the street. It looks like it's finished. It looks good. What happens on the other side? It doesn't matter. It doesn't, I think generally people are okay.
Thank you.
Councillor Field?
Question through the chair to Tammy. Tammy, do we know what's going to be planned for the area north of the proposed change, the R2? Do we know what's going to be there?
Again, Your Worship, basically the area will be residential as well, but there is a mixture of R1, likely R1N, likely they'll come in again, R2 and R2X.
So as you go in on Westmount Drive and you're going through that subdivision, there will be high-end homes to the north, and then the proposed plan is to be R2 and then possibly again R1 north of that. It seems to me that am I wrong in saying that R2 proposed change is almost like a little island in between two R1 areas?
I would have to take a look at the plan again with respect to West Creek. But there is definitely a pocket, a fairly larger area of R2 on that north portion, or north of the proposal area.
I thought in our last conversation they were going to kind of follow what was happening already.
Yes, they are pretty close to what is being proposed on the other side, but there is a few more single detached lots in that area.
Thank you. Okay. Is that your answer? Thank you. No further questions. If maybe we can put these thoughts forward back to the developer and go from there.
Your Worship, just in regards to the green space that we're discussing and that seems to be very popular amongst everyone, that would be at something to be discussed at subdivision stage. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this point, I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I'll make that motion, Your Worship.
Councilor Hamilton, all in favor? Carried. Thank you, everybody. On to the ordinary meeting, adoption of the agenda. Any additions?
I have nothing, Your Worship.
Councilor Hamilton?
Nothing, Your Worship.
Nothing, Your Worship?
Nothing for me, Your Worship.
Thank you.
Administration?
Administration, yes.
Your Worship, you had one you want to put on, and it came to the group Storm. The girls' team.
Oh, yeah, when it is,
You want that
yeah.
on.
Yes, that's right, I'm sorry, yeah.
Where do you want that to go?
Right at the end.
And Your Worship, and then economic development trial.
Okay. I and J.
Well, don't we have that already, the green energy trip? No part of it? No.
Thank you. Motion to adopt agenda as presented. Councilor Pugh. All in favor? I'm sorry, I missed you, Councilor.
No, I was voting.
Oh, you're voting. Thank you. Previous minutes. You're all satisfied with the motion to accept previous minutes?
Your Worship, I move that we accept the previous minutes.
All in favor? Carried. Delegations, 5A, Bow Valley College. Thank you.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Your Worship. Esteemed colleagues and council members and staff, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak directly to the council this evening. I would like to just walk you through some background about Bow Valley College and the Regional Stewardship Plan, some goals and objectives of us being here, and respecting your time. I can take some questions at the end, but I know you guys have a long meeting ahead of you, so I'll try to do as fast as I can. Some background on Bow Valley College. It was established in 1965 and has been delivering education inside the community for over 45 years and is classified as a comprehensive community learning institution, one of 11 which is across the province of Alberta. In November 2007, Alberta's Advanced Education released a rules and policy framework for publicly funded post-secondary institutions, outlining a new direction for delivery of advanced education and community adult learning. This policy framework called for enhanced alignment for all educational provisional systems in order to strengthen foundational learning, increase learner transition, and increase adult access to a full spectrum of learning. A steering committee for community adult learning developed a comprehensive set of recommendations and released Building Vibrant Communities, which designated the comprehensive community institutions as the essential provider with a distinct role in working within communities to meet literacy and foundational learning needs and ensure access to a broad spectrum of learning for geographical regions across the province of Alberta. In 2009, Premier Ed Stelmach then called for a Learning Alberta and proposed two specific outcomes, one being a focus on a learner, and two, the establishment of vibrant learning communities. The focus on the learner means that they are inspired and supported by opportunity within communities, which in turn leads to an overall increase in educational attainment for all, including those from the underrepresented. Vibrant learning communities exist where those learners are able to access a broad range of programming because of the strong collaboration between community learning providers and post-secondary institutions, along with schools, employers, government, public libraries, and other community organizations. The report stated that quality of life is significantly enhanced in communities where adult learning councils and community literacy providers work collaboratively with the post-secondary institutions so adults are able to engage in full-scope learning. So as one of 11 of those comprehensive community institutions in Alberta, Bow Valley has moved forward with a strategically aligned set of recommendations following the outline of advanced education. So as stewards now for adult education in Alberta, the goals of the comprehensive community institutions are, number one, to improve access. Rural Alberta and smaller communities are underserved by post-secondary education generally, and citizens have less access to and participation in advanced education. Technology has made the perception of access easier, but more collaborative alignment needs to be done as outlined by the policy framework. We support the economic development from grassroots. This is both a labor and skill supply issue for employers, as well as the community viewing education-related jobs as important to have for the economic benefits that they bring. We support increased alignment, which refers to the alignment of the community adult learning councils and literacy organizations, and also the alignment between all levels of formal education. The stewardship goals also engage specifically in cooperative planning. Collaboration, information sharing, accurate needs and assessments, and demographic analysis planning leads to better decision making both at the local and provincial level, and seeks to align more with the needs of local, regional, and the provincial economy. So specifically for us, the Bow Valley region extends north to Crossfield, south to Cayley, west to Banff, and east to Gleason. Specifically where I am as regional representative, I encompass west, so eastern corridor, I go from Chestermere, north to Three Hills, east to Gleason, and south to Carsland. Regions can broker programs across regional boundaries. For instance, we are currently offering a Bow Valley program in Drumheller and Bowden, just based on the expertise of our programming. So it's not actually in our region, but we've brokered it with Olds College and Lindbergh. So as indicated, we are all quite aware of the strong growth occurring in the Calgary region and the rural communities surrounding, and they've experienced growth continuously since 2006. And Bow Valley has compiled specific data and community profiles for each of its stewardship regions. I can make any one of those community profiles available if you'd like the demographics of each. So building from the policy framework and directives from the Ministry of Advanced Education, Bow Valley College invested considerable resources to meet their regional stewardship responsibilities. They had extensive community consultations, community adult learning provider discussions. We did a full labor market partnership research project, community health profiles, and besides the business plan that was developed, full faculty consultations and stakeholder engagement is ongoing. And across the organization, the culture at Bow Valley as a grassroots education provider remains fully supported. So that's what we've done from now, and in the course of that research and the data collection, we drew some conclusions from our consultations, highlighting some of the rural challenges specifically for our region. Noticing these challenges, we recognize that there's a vital importance of local delivery of education and training, seen as a key to community vitality. Local opportunities in education are elements to keep young people and the highly skilled inside the local community, which in turn increases earning and the overall standard of living in the community. This is about Bow Valley College and the town of Strathmore, County of Wheatland, and community at large buying into a philosophy of talent retention, building the process to cut down on the migration of community members to the major centers by providing access to learning opportunities locally and building potential from within. Inside our community research, we found that the specific need for post-secondary institutions inside the local communities, and some of the areas that they recognized were that they were supportive to online learning. They viewed post-secondary institutions as a community service to the underemployed and the reskilled, to the unemployed, and to assist with the reskill development during a downturn. They also viewed post-secondary institutions as a local job creator and that an economic development booster as it attracts other industry to the community. It was essential that local delivery does not necessarily mean bricks and mortar. Viable and appealing educational opportunities included some blended learning, video conferencing, combining computer-mediated instruction with face-to-face contact, and online learning. And while online learning has significantly opened up the world and satisfies a compelling need, it does reduce the need to relocate to study and offers the flexibility around busy and demanding lifestyles to pursue and achieve educational and career potential. So our objectives, my ability to present to you here today is a direct result from our from our community consultations. And the first objective has been met because we have piloted a local Bow Valley College rep inside the communities. And inside the region, we currently have a very small there's an office in Airdrie, there's one in Canmore, and just in January, Strathmore had a stewardship person put in place, and then one in Okotoks. So you can see that we've moved forward with our objectives. It's always nice to check those off. If that's definitely a measurable success. The scope of potential partnership agreements is varied. Some may take the form of memorandums of MOUs with the community learning councils and literacy organizations, or some may be research projects for advanced study. Other partnerships could result from a specific identified need for immediate training and skill development, specifically in healthcare aid and business administration or educational assistant. So when we're looking at expanding our college services and research projects, this stewardship opportunity inside the regions would be paramount. Specifically, right now we have a grant to do some research, and there's an existing program at Siksika for healthcare and LPNs of Aboriginal descent. And so we're using that particular program with some federal money to conduct some research on the training and post-secondary education of the First Nations in Alberta. So it's quite exciting. So we are expanding on some of our research projects by having people inside the region. Developing the new partnerships agreements, I told you that they could take different places or different formats, some MOUs, some could just be research projects, some could be specific demand programs. We're looking at new workplace training contracts, and as we establish our presence in the community, we will build further relationships with employer, community, and eventually leading to workplace training of essential skills delivery. Bow Valley College currently has a nationally recognized program that has, it's identified by the Government of Canada for full participation in home and community life and identifies 9 essential skills, and they can develop specific programs for business and industry based on that recognized federal program. I don't know how I'm going to build my brand awareness unless I could get a checkpoint, but I'm going to look at the 3%. That's pretty exciting. So here's our plan, our implementation. We will be conducting formal community consultations across the region, seeking inclusion and alignment with educational providers, all 3 levels of government, community associations, and business and industry. I have received money from Alberta Rural Development Network currently to deliver these consultations on 4 key subject areas, specifically health workforce development in rural Alberta, engagement of urban post-secondary institutions in stewardship and advocacy, defining the role of employers in expanding post-secondary education, and ongoing community input. For instance, and specifically on 28th of March, we partnered in February to host in March with Alberta Health Services a healthcare workforce workshop where we have engaged leaders from our region, specifically in rural health providers, where they are going to they're having a workshop to look at local delivery of specific healthcare aid, LPN, and registered nurse programs so that the students take the program in the community, practicum in the community, and get employed in the community. And all of those will be out inside the stewardship regions. So I've identified some of the key decision makers here in the Strathmore area, and they've already been invited to participate, and they've all agreed. So we've addressed aged care, who is opening the assisted living. We've talked to the leaders at the Strathmore Hospital, all the way up to Brooks, all the way up to Three Hills Hospital and Trochu Hospital. They kind of border on our region, but they'll all be participating in this local delivery of rural healthcare programming. It's a priority of ours in our stewardship role. It's also a priority of the Alberta government and Alberta Health Services to sustain equitable and affordable healthcare all across the province. We have met with the deans and reviewed program requirements for effective delivery and growth of all programs Bow Valley offers, and we've launched current successful in-demand programs in some of our region already. Specifically, the Healthcare Aid program is very successful in Airdrie right now. Just matching exactly what Alberta Health Services wants, that the people from Airdrie don't want to travel to Calgary to take their program, and then they can practice come in place right in Airdrie and north of Airdrie, right up to Didsbury. So it's a very successful program. Actually, it's so successful right now that they do a postal code check when you register, because the Calgarians found out you can get into a program in Airdrie a whole lot faster than you can when you go to Calgary. And so they would drive to Airdrie to get into the program. So we've actually created quite a demand, which is exciting for healthcare. The Calgary regional communities comprise a very well-educated part of Canada, and specifically Alberta. There is a stated demand for educational programs, career training, and educational services delivered at the local area. And we all recognize the 21st century as a different learning environment, and our 21st century learner is different. People want more. They want any time, any place, any path, and any pace learning. And education is a consumer's market now, and it would be short-sighted to assume that the delivery models that have served us in the past will serve us in the future. Nurturing and attracting talent now is a prerequisite for attracting investments in communities and fostering economic and social development. Bow Valley College has engaged on a coordinated strategic approach to assure accessible education and training opportunities are responsive to the Strathmore community, the labor market, and the individuals in the community. We recognize that creating a culture of lifelong learning requires action from many parts of society. Chief among them are the adult education providers, government, employers, and the community members at large. Well, I'm not going to let you ask me a question yet. Sorry. We view education as an investment, and we believe that it supplements Alberta's economic future. And my aim as the steward in Strathmore is to continue to hold the consultations, so the funding works for the months of April and May, so those you will receive an invitation to participate. They'll take different formats. Each of the consultations, government might be a little bit more focused, group-based, one-on-one, or smaller collective groups. Community consultations might take larger open house style formats where we bring in a number of dean or faculty members from the college. There'll also be business and industry, which I believe will be very needs-based to the specific sectors, so that will take a different format in the consultation. That could be more survey-driven. Those will all happen in the spring. I will support active engagement of all community members in identifying a path forward to enhance access to adult education, and we will create innovative models in alignment with what the local interests and local priorities are. We support the community by investing in the potential for industry and employers to partner and support in workplace training and creating new access points. We believe in talent retention as a growth for economic development, and we believe that collaboration is going to be key to achieve any of those. Thank you for your time. Does anybody have any questions, or can I clarify anything?
Thank you very much, Terry. I probably neglected to introduce you. Terry McKinnon, I can't remember if I did or didn't, but Artie didn't introduce yourself, I'm not sure. Anyway, welcome to Strathmore. We're very pleased that you're coming, and I couldn't be more excited. I think it's going to do wonders for the whole community, and couldn't be more excited that you're coming. Thank you. Councillor Rebel?
Thank you. Terry, you mentioned the fact that you're going to have some ongoing training here for healthcare professionals. You refer to nurses, RNs, LPNs, whatever. Is there anything in there for PCAs, for the home care workers?
Well, we're looking at potential training in the area. We have to reach agreement with Alberta Health Services as a provider of the healthcare service in this area. They have to be in agreement that we can offer it here, because practicums have to be approved by them, but we are investigating that opportunity right now. And all levels, we do have, that would be the level 1 healthcare aid program that would certify people to work in assisted living. Is that the area that you're
That's correct.
thinking of?
Yeah,
Yes.
that and assisting seniors and physically handicapped, I guess,
yes.
People that can be looked after in their own home instead of having to go to an institution.
Yes, yes, we have, that would be, if there's an expressed need for that specifically, we're anticipating that we easily could build a program for that.
There's a big need for it in the area.
The 28th of March will be quite exciting because we have talked to some of the leaders in this community and invited them to make sure that they are there at the table when we put solutions together. The where, whens will just have to be determined there based on the funding that Alberta Health Services is looking for. It's a one-time only funding initiative based on specifically regional health care delivery. So none of the programming can be done in the major centers. It has to be delivered regionally and in rural areas.
Thank you.
Councillor Buell? Yep. Councillor Best?
I have that.
Councillor Hamilton?
Just a quick question. Do you train EMS and EMT?
We do not. Currently, SATE runs that program, and we haven't reached a brokering agreement with SATE.
Councillor Sobel?
Well, thank you.
Other than, thank you very much. Are you looking for?
No, it was basically information only. I wanted to ensure that your expertise and your networking within the community will assist. It was information, background, some objectives and goals, and then also I would just ask for your participation when we get down to focused group planning on needs and trends and delivery models inside Strathmore regions.
Thank you very much.
I did bring information if you wanted to hand it out later. I can make those community profiles. They'll be ongoing as far as updates, but I do have one for each of the regional areas inside the Bow Valley region.
I'm sure the press would love to talk to you. Thank you very much, Terry.
Your Worship, I'll move that this presentation be accepted for information purposes.
All in favor? Thank you. Carried. Bylaws.
Your Worship, I would move that council set a public hearing for April 6, 2011 at 7:30 p.m. with procedures in accordance with Council Procedure Bylaws 07-11 and amendments thereto.
You all heard the motion. Any discussion? Not all in favor? 6B. Page 9.
Your Worship, I would move that council give second reading to bylaw 11-01.
You all heard the motion? Any discussion? Not? All in favor? Carried.
Your Worship, I move that council give third and final reading to bylaw 11-01.
All heard the motion? Any further discussion? Not? All in favor? Carried. C. And 15.
I move that council give second reading to bylaw 11-02.
You all heard the motion, any discussion?
I have one question through the chair to our development officer. We were talking about a park with large trees and things. Is there any way that we can make that happen? Or when we do the planning of these, can we make sure that happens, or is that something that's totally up to the developer?
It will happen at the subdivision stage, because
Right.
until the subdivision comes, we cannot put the municipal reserve designation on it until subdivision comes through. The issue of trees, it could be possible, but again, we have to, as the town, maintain that area as well. So we probably would have to discuss that with our operations and engineering department, because they deal with the maintenance of the parks.
Does that come back to us?
The subdivision?
Yes.
That
His request. I'm with Councillor Best. I think that we should insist that happens.
We can put that as requirements with respect to the development agreement, as well as conditions with respect to the maintenance periods and things like that. So it can be covered under a development agreement if it gets to that subdivision stage.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Gill?
Your worship, just to comment, this is the one I have trouble with, the redesignation in the Strathmore Lakes area, simply because it may be an anchor, it may be creating an area of R2 followed by another area of R1. I understand and I really empathize with the citizens who are concerned about the change to what the area plan was. So this is the one I have trouble with.
Thank you. Any further comments?
I just have a question to the chair, to Tammy. Some of those conditions, could there be a condition that a berm be placed in there as well? Or is that something that's out of our realm?
The reason why I'm struggling is because I think it has to do more so what our usual standards are with respect to municipal reserve and whatnot.
I'm just thinking of the aesthetics for the people that have the concern in regard to, the government said that whatever goes on behind the trees is entirely up to the developer. And I thought maybe a berm in there would distract from anybody looking over the solar service.
Can we make a requirement that certain of the trees have to be, when you're planting them, they have to be, I don't know, can you plant 20 footers, or can we make that requirement? Is that legal?
Your worship, we should ensure they're large trees.
A minimum of say 20 footers or something like that, I would think. All right, can we make that requirement?
Your worship, I think part of it has to do more so probably with the caliper, not necessarily the height of the tree, because I think caliper has to do more so with the actual densification of the leaf and whatnot. So I think that could potentially be part of that. We do have to be cognizant of the landscaping requirements as well as with the land use bylaw. So whatever the typical standards are, we still have to follow that. But we could also discuss that with our park staff.
And I would assume with the developer, you would be having these discussions with the developer. With this may be all moot, because he may at this point be cognizant of the fact that this is a really good idea and be willing to go down this road anyway. But this is.
I just want to ensure it though.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Councillor. Y'all heard no further discussion. Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed?
Your worship, I move that council give third and final reading to bylaw 11-02.
Y'all heard the motion. All in favor? Opposed? One opposed. Carried. Six D, bylaw 1109, textual amendment of town's land use bylaw number 89-20, RN1 district, page 22. Administration, please.
Recommend council to provide first reading for bylaw number 11-09.
I move the council give first reading of bylaw 11-09.
Y'all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried.
Your worship, I would move that council refer bylaw 1109 to the public hearing scheduled for April the 6th, 2011.
You all heard the motion? Carried. All in favor? Carried. Old business 6A, if we could kind of hurry along here, we're really running behind time. Sorry.
So, Your Worship, there is another bylaw, 11-10.
Sorry. How did I miss that?
Because I've been here too long.
I agree.
I move the council give first reading to bylaw 11-10.
Y'all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried.
Your worship, I move that council refer bylaw number 11-10 to the public hearing scheduled for April 6th, 2011.
Y'all heard the motion? All in favor? Carried. Now we can go to the Centennial Pin. Sorry.
Your worship, that's my matter. A number of days ago, days prior to February 16th, this February 16th council meeting, members of the Centennial Committee met and felt it would be appropriate if the very first Centennial Pin could be sold to the mayor. Unfortunately, Mayor Graychuk was in Edmonton on that day, which was also the day that the pins arrived from the distributor. An alternate plan was devised, which would see me purchase the pin at the beginning of council on behalf of the mayor. Late on the 15th of February, Mayor Graychuk called me and suggested that in lieu of purchasing the pin for $5, would we, the committee, agree to auction? This was thought of as a good idea. Within a very short period of time, a number of potential bidders were notified. As you all know, the auction took place, the mayor bidding via cell phone. The successful bid was for the first pin was $450, and the second and third pin were sold for $100 each. These funds went directly into the Centennial Fund. Clearly, all three bidders wanted nothing more than to provide some funds to the Centennial Committee and to have a good time with this. Since that time, some persons have expressed disappointment in not having the opportunity to bid, and I assume support the Centennial Committee in the same fashion as these three pin holders. Well, I have good news for these persons. As a result of their comments and some by others, the Centennial Committee has devised the Sponsorship Opportunity Program, which would allow anyone wishing to financially support the Centennial projects to do so. If anyone is interested, they are welcome to contact their Deputy CAO, Linda Nelson, for all of those details. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? If not,
Your Worship, I move that council accept the information with regards to the Centennial Pin auction as information.
you all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. 8A, advertising RFP. Who wanted to? No, okay, thank you.
Evening, Your Worship, Council. The Council has provided direction to administration to establish a fair and equitable procedure to single-source all municipal advertising by consolidating advertising to one newspaper to improve advertising cost effectiveness and to provide a consistent communication vehicle for the advertising of municipal events and statutory or legally required notices to the public within the town of Strathmore. RFPs for the single sourcing of municipal corporate advertising, which includes both statutory and discretionary advertising, to one local newspaper within the town of Strathmore were issued on February 1st, 2011. Proposals were received and opened on Wednesday, February 16th, 2011. And the two proposals received are as follows. The Strathmore Times, $495 per page, including full color. Additional advertising space, for example, municipal job postings, $4.25 per column inch. They would also provide a high-quality municipal brochure at no cost to the town. The Strathmore Standard, $525 per page, including free processed color. Additional advertising space, municipal job postings, etc., $5.92 per column inch. They would also provide a high-quality, glossy, 32-page brochure for the purpose of promoting economic development and tourism at no cost to the town. And administration's recommended action is that council direct administration to enter into a contract with the Strathmore Times for a one-year period with the terms of the contract to be negotiated with the CAO, and that the mayor and council, or mayor and CAO, be authorized to sign the contract
on behalf of the town.
You all heard the recommendation. Any questions? Councillor Rempel.
Yeah, Your Worship, looking at the proposals here, it's not that much different from one to the other. One is at $495, the other one is at $525. So a difference of $30. I believe that both newspapers provide excellent service to the community. I would like to see the town support both the newspapers, even if it's on an alternating whatever type of advertising that we do. But for the small amount of difference that there is from one paper to the other, I feel that we should support both papers.
Councillor Sobel.
Through the chair to Ms. Nelson, do you know what our total advertising costs in our budget are?
I don't have that information on hand.
Anybody know approximately?
A rough figure on that?
Your worship, isn't it about 70,000, somewhere in there?
Let's take the figure of 70,000, just so we're clear, so we're not muddying the waters. Basically, what we're trying to do is cut that basically in half to 35,000.
Is that right? Is that what
By doing that.
Yeah.
By designating one source for our advertising.
Through the chair to Councilor Sobel, I don't believe that it has been split evenly at 50-50 in the past. So I don't know if that is a valid argument.
Well, we're advertising in both newspapers.
Yes, but I'm not sure we're doing the same amount of advertising in each paper.
Is that something that the administration can share some light on?
I believe that we do most of our statutory advertising in the Strathmore Standard, and then we do job postings and other advertising in both papers.
Councillor Best.
Your Worship, looking at, listening to Councillor Rempel and his numbers, $30 isn't much until you take, if it's only one full page a week times 52, it becomes over $1,500. To me, that starts to get to be significant. If there's more than one page per week, then the numbers climb from there. And as Councillor Sobel had said, by working with both papers, we are significantly spending more money than we really need to. I think it's true that both papers do provide an excellent service to us, and both are delivered to every home, and therefore I think if a paper can save us this kind of money, that the answer is what's being recommended.
Councillor Joe.
Well, Your Worship, a lot of things have changed for me since the election, and I've come to realize that communication is a huge factor that has to be employed with the town and the residents and the voters. And I am starting to agree with Councillor Rempel's side that supporting both papers may be more expensive, but we can sure get the word out to people, and we can sure have solid communication so that people know what's going on and that they understand why things are being done. So I'm tending to agree with Councillor Rempel.
Sir Hamilton.
I agree as well with Councillor Rempel. We got to support, like I always say, we got to support local businesses, regardless of the price, whether it's high or low. If you do some cost sharing, maybe have administration do I don't know what could be done as far as that's concerned, but I think both papers should be included in the contract like this.
Thank you. My only thought, sir, is that in order to split it, it makes it very difficult in order to save a dollar, because some things we can do in some papers, some apparently some and not the other. It makes it very difficult for administration. I don't think of it as business is business, pony up if you can't handle it, or you cut the costs and work with us, so that should be the...
Your Worship, I would just make one more comment. I mean, we're at this point tonight because council wanted to come to this point tonight. I really don't know how fair this is to either of these papers to go back on what our intention was, which was a motion to find out which paper we should be focusing on so that we can save some taxpayers' money.
We all had our discussion. There's any...
Your Worship, I just have one thing, and it goes along with what Councillor Sobel said. I think that in good faith we put out for tender. The tenders have come back and shown us that there's a significant difference in the two, and that we as councillors and our council for this town, if we are to step back and say, well, we really shouldn't put this out anyway, we'll stay with both papers, I think we're doing a disservice to our citizens.
Councillor Rimpel.
Well, I totally disagree with that. And first of all, it may have been by direction of council, but it obviously wasn't unanimous because some of us didn't agree with it at the time and still don't agree with it. So I'm still of the opinion that we should support both papers and that they have both served us well. And that's where I'm at with it.
Okay, under the office of true democracy, let's have a motion.
Your Worship, I move that council direct administration to enter into a contract with the Strathmore Times for a one-year period, with the terms of the contract to be negotiated with the CAO and the mayor, and that the mayor and the CAO authorize and sign contract on behalf of the town.
We had a discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Your Worship?
8B, land sale northwest 22, 24, 25, west of the 4th Meridian. Is administration going to speak to that, or?
Sure, I can. We went out and advertised on the internet. We advertised in the papers and so forth to find people or firms interested in this particular piece of property. Part of the property is highway commercial, and M1, and then M2. And one proposal came in, that's all we received, and it's from Landscape Management Inc.
Could you maybe tell the public exactly where it is?
Okay, yes.
Land?
Okay. It's this quarter of land right here. So here's Walmart, so it's across the highway. And to the east there's a big transformer here, big Fortis transformer site. And anyway, this piece of property in here, we advertised it, and a proposal came in on that particular piece. I jumped to the wrong one. So anyway, on this one particular piece, we do it first anyway. So anyway, there'd be a road built down here. We would put a road in here so we can develop some lots for industrial purposes in here. So there'd be several lots built along here. Some would be 1 acre, possibly some 3 acres. Some could even be larger if we get some larger industrial firms go into there. And then the sewer line comes down here right now. It was put in by United Communities a few years ago when Walmart was built. So there's a sewer line there. We'll be bringing water in from over here. So there'll be water and sewer for that particular property. That parcel of land will have ditches, it will have overhead power lines, paved roads, and a regular industrial park where the town will be working with the developer on these lots to sell.
For the record, we're dealing with 8C, that's Lansdale, Northwest 12, 24, 25, west of the 4th Meridian. For the record, please. I'd like to add one thing, is that we've had many requests already, and a matter of about half a dozen of them, for people wanting to buy lands there already, anywhere from 1 acre up. So it's very positive, actually. And I'd also like to know, so for the public record, Council has had much discussion with administration and amongst ourselves about this. Prior to this, we're just not making a flippant decision here tonight. So actually, if there's any questions from Council, we're looking for a motion for the sale of this land.
I move the Council direct administration to proceed with the sale of the land located at Northwest 12, 24, 25, west of the 4th Meridian to Strathmore Developments, Inc., for the total purchase price of $4,375,700, excluding GST, to be paid by vendor, take-back mortgage, and paid from the lot service sales on a prorated land area basis.
Thank you. If there's no further discussion, all in favor? Motion carried. Now we're back to 8B.
Okay. This particular piece of land is roughly about 145 acres. There's about 10-acre parcel here. Here's Hillview here. There's a 10-acre parcel there that's separate. The rest of this piece we've put up for sale. Right now, this used to be the raw water reservoir, and it's 51 acres in size. The developer is proposing to drain or pump the water out of here, reshape it a little bit, but keep it very good size. And we're going to call that a PUL, public utility lot, so that we can put storm water from some of this area here into here and so on. So that's why we're calling it a PUL. Also, on the west side here, there'll have to be right-of-way for a future road up here. That's Wildflower Road extended up here to Oxbow Road or North Boundary, whatever we want to call it. And the proposal is to have housing up there, and using the building that's up there, the water treatment plant, the old water treatment plant, we'd be taking our things out of there, and they would use that for a community hall, or so the community can use it for various recreational type of activities and so on. Keep in mind, the price on this that's offered there is $22,000 per acre. But if you take a look, this can become the town's public utility line. You take that out of it, and the price per acre, and keep in mind there's a wetland there we can't touch, is over $30,000 per acre when you consider this here function there. And if there's any questions, I can answer them on that.
Yes.
My name is John Wilden. I live at North 5 Paisley Road. My concern is, is the canal going to continue to spill water into that lagoon? Is it publicly serviced that way, or?
No.
What, the water for here?
No, is the canal going, the WID canal?
Here's the canal, yes.
Yes, is it still, the water still going to be accessed into that lagoon for their development?
That will have to be worked out with the developer and the WID. But a lot of the water going in there will be storm water. We'll be pumping storm water from these areas into there.
My concern is that the town has a limited amount of irrigation water that we're allowed to use. We currently haven't completed our certificate to the government for our water use. So if we do not use our current water certificate for residential irrigation, and if it's not put in the certificate, is it going to be put into the certificate for this particular park to access our rights to the WID water, as well as is it going to be part of the certificate for the soccer field? Because if we're going to be pumping water out without a certificate.
That issue can be handled after the sale, because we are going to control that water. That will be in the offer to purchase. We have total control over it.
I understand that, sir. I greatly appreciate that. But we have not sent in for our certificate currently. So if we're going to use a certificate, we need to publish that we're going to use it for residential irrigation, or if we're going to be using it for this, minus the residential irrigation and everything else. So we need to narrow down on our certificate application what it's for.
Yes, there's 150 acre feet that we have capped.
Yes.
And I'll just review it briefly for those that are not familiar. We had 2,150 acre feet of water. We loaned to the city of Calgary 2,000 acre feet, and when you do that, the province takes 10% away. Bird Environment takes it away, and they do it on everybody. So anyway, the city of Calgary really got 1,800 acre feet of our license they're using, but we still own the license. So there's 150 acre feet left, and that 150 acre feet left, we're going to ensure that we keep it for various functions, because we don't want to lose it.
But I was asking for clarification what was on the certificate, because it hasn't been applied for, and we're running out of time to apply for it. Is it going to be applied for residential irrigation or other developments?
We can do that after the fact. That has nothing to do with the sale of the land. We can do that after the fact.
True, but if we do have residential irrigation, sir, we won't have enough water to be able to supply to this and the soccer field. That's why.
That can be handled after the fact. That doesn't enter into the sale of the property, because we have full control over that reservoir. It doesn't enter into the sale of it. We have full control. That is another issue, totally. And there'll be no further discussion on it. It's simple as that. It's not that. Anyway, any further questions?
Yes. Oh, sorry. Just one that everybody's dying to find out. Does the developer need some assistance removing the pipe out of it?
Councillor, yes?
Your Worship, I've seen the plans on this, and I think it's a bonus for the town of Strathmore. I think this is something that is waited for, and now that we have someone who can take this land and is willing to pay top dollar for it, that I think it's a wonderful thing for our town to be able to look at developing that area.
Councillor Gill?
No comments.
Councillor Rental? Councillor Hamilton? I would like to get more money. No comment?
I'm with Ron. I'm with Councillor.
Oh, you want to fish?
Yeah, I want the
Would you like to minus the 50 acres that we've got to give to you anyway and pay for it?
I move that council during administration to proceed with the sale of the land located at Northwest 22-24-25 west of the 4th Meridian to Sky Escape Management Inc. for the total purchase price of $3,195,060 excluding GST, with $195,060 to be paid on the completion date, the 30th day after waiver of conditions, and the balance of $3 million to be paid in two payments. The first on December 15, 2011, the second and last payment on June 15, 2012.
Yeah, y'all heard the motion, we'll have the discussion. All in favor? Motion carried. Thank you. Policy number 8B, policy number 1303. Page 30. Administration.
Your Worship. Amendments are required to the hourly, part-time, and casual seasonal wage policy number 1303 to reflect current practices, to change the title on the grid, and to add in a new position on the grid. Council approved the addition of a part-time kennel assistant in the 2011 budget. The amendments to policy 1303 are as follows. Clause 17.1 is amended by deleting the words 5 working days and replacing them with 1 regular work week. As some of our departments do not work typical work weeks, but have the same hours. This clause will cover all events. Clause 7.3 is amended by deleting the words 5 working days and replacing them with 1 regular work week for the same reasons as previously mentioned. The hourly wage grid, we would like to replace the title municipal clerk with the title executive assistant. Administration is updating the job description for this position, and the title executive assistant is more in line with the new position's roles and responsibilities, and is a more common title in comparable municipalities. And then under the part-time wage grid, we would like to add the title kennel assistant. As above, council approved the addition of a part-time kennel assistant in the 2011 budget. And we are asking that council approve policy number 1303, hourly, part-time, and casual seasonal wage policy as amended.
Councillor Rempel.
Through the chair to our deputy CEO, seeing as we have been sharing the kennel with the county, is that still an ongoing thing?
I believe it is, yes.
And are we, is that why we need to hire a part-time person, because we have too many animals that, probably more animals from county than we get from town?
That's a possibility, but this position, the lady had been volunteering, and our animal control officer had requested adding her onto our grid and paying her a wage rather than just having her volunteering.
So could we offset that by increasing the contribution from the county?
Yes, and that has been talked about. It just hasn't been formalized at this point.
I'd like to see that happen first before we hire anybody.
Councillor Biss.
No, Councillor Rempel covered what I had to say.
Anybody else have any comments?
Well, I think our direction was to go ahead and offer this person part-time wages. I mean, if the fact of the matter is, if the county does not come up with additional funds for this, the question, I guess, is do we not have this person on staff? We still need that person. I think that I feel confident that we'll have positive negotiations with the county in regards to extra fees. I'm certainly in favor. I think the kennel needs the part-time assistant, and I think it's something that has to be done for the care of these animals.
And I'm sorry, Your Worship, also this is very, very minimal. It's maybe a couple of hours a week, so it's probably less than $3,000 a year that we'd be paying for this position. It's a very small.
I think if we approach the county, they would certainly help us out by their actions. Councillor Hamilton.
Well, that was my question is how many hours a week does she put in? So.
Very, very part-time.
And I know trees detailed.
Yes.
If not, I'm there to entertain a motion.
I'll make that motion. The council approve policy number 1303, hourly, part-time, and casual / seasonal wage policy as amended.
You all heard the motion, no further discussion. All in favor? Motion carried. The next two, can I just ask the administration, is there a possibility under the MGA, is it a requirement that they have anything, say, we made a motion or that would they anything under $100 or $500 that the administration can handle without coming to policy to the council? Is that possible?
Your Worship, yes, we could, but in the past, the policy's been anything like this comes to council. But that could be changed.
Thank you. It seems to take up a lot of time, and we've got to trust the administration here sometimes. We always do, but sometimes we just trust them more. I'm not going to get out of that one. Anyway, E, 8E.
Good evening, Your Worship and Council. We've received a letter from Joyce Butt, which we've included in the package. So basically, what Joyce is requesting is relief from the disconnection and reconnection charges from her utility bill.
What's the background behind that? What happened there?
The customer has experienced financial difficulties, so her account has lapsed into arrears. We gave sufficient notice. We go through a process whereby we send letters, then we hang the door tag. Once the door tag is hung, the customer has, what the door tag says is 48 hours, but we give them a little longer. So then to give us a call and make arrangements. If that hasn't happened, then we go out and we disconnect the water. The disconnection fee is $40 and the reconnection fee is $40.
So you disconnected, she paid the bill, and reconnected?
Yes.
Okay. How long has this been going on?
How long is?
From the time?
The entire period.
This happened in January, I believe.
Councilor Hamilton?
Did she ever contact you to make arrangements for payment?
She did not until after the water was disconnected.
Councilor Best?
I was just wondering, like, from the original time that the bill wasn't paid, until such time as we hung the little note on our door for 48 hours, what's that period of time?
We would have, in January, we would be hanging door tags for the September, October billing period. So it is a significant amount of time that they have.
So we're talking 3 or 4 months?
Oh, yes, yes. Yeah.
Any other further comments? My only comment is this, I don't want to set a precedent, and have you tried talking to her, can we set a $5 a month, pay it?
Absolutely, Your Worship. We're extremely reasonable. We do make arrangements on a frequent basis for people that are having hardship and
Have you made that request to her?
Oh, absolutely, we have. She just wanted us to take to council a request for a relief of that disconnection charge. We've been directed from past council that as administration, we're not able to write off any portion.
No, I'm asking for it off, but I'm saying, can you recommend to her, go along with $5 a month till it's paid?
Absolutely, Your Worship.
I don't want to set a precedent here. Everybody's going to start this, and I'm not trying to be harsh, but that's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
If there's no further discussion,
Yes, Your Worship. Now, I understand that this bill has been paid?
Yes, she has paid the bill. It's just the disconnect and reconnect charge.
No need to ask for $5.
Oh, okay.
No, there's $80 still.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if there's anything that we want to do with the $80.
That's what I'm saying, the $5.
Split it or,
pay $5 a month, don't pay for it. Okay? Is that fair?
whatever she can arrange.
Yeah, whatever you can arrange.
Thank you.
Not $1 a month, that's 80 months.
We need a motion.
Yes.
I move that council not reduce utility account 452.03 by the disconnection and/or reconnection charges.
And administration analyst, or you have to add that, or no?
They do that by
Okay.
policy to.
Thank you. You all in the motion? All in favor? All carried. 8F, same thing.
This is a bit of a different situation. Our customer is requesting for relief from their water bill. In this particular situation, there was a pipe that burst in the residence. We don't have necessarily the information on exactly where and how the pipe burst. I don't have that information. But the customer claims it was before the water meter. At that same period of time, there was a spike in her water meter readings, so there was a large consumption bill that got sent out. It is staff opinion that it was a direct result of the water leak, that the spike came in the utility bill, and therefore that is water that flowed through the meter. It's been, in the past, we have said that if the water goes through the meter, the customer is responsible for that water.
because we can't speak to where the consumption occurred, there's a complication in this fact in that the customer at a later date requested, after we had replaced her meter, because we went in and replaced it, there's a bit of a complication in that she requested we test the meter subsequently, but unfortunately we recycled the meter parts, particularly the copper, and we'd already taken the meter apart.
It's my understanding that anything from the curb forward is the responsibility of the customer no matter what, and there's insurance to cover this, most people have.
Yeah. We
But
can't speak to
anything
consumption.
before the meter doesn't affect the meter anyway. It's only happening through the meter, so the meter's at the house. So where did the water go? Did it flood her basement? Did it cause any damage?
It was a leak inside the house, but she said it was before the meter.
Well, it can't be, or else it would be.
Exactly. Can't be. Anyway, Dr. Best.
In here, she talks about due to a staff turnover, the meter could not be recovered. I'm going with you that it was done and they couldn't get it. I guess the problem I have here is that she's come to us with a plausible cause. We can't prove that it happened. We can't give her the meter to show that the meter was actually working properly. I don't often do this, but in this case, I tend to deal with the citizen on this.
Your Worship?
Yes.
Do we have any history of water use in this residence?
Yeah, the spike in water consumption is definitely an unusual event for this residence. I can speak.
But she's maintaining that it was before the meter.
Just in history of water meters, if a water meter fails, it reads low. We've never had, and I've spoken with Chorus, our supplier of water meters, an incident where a water meter has failed and read higher consumption. So the water did flow through the meter, whether it was a result of a pipe burst, which is likely. The question is where's the responsibility for that water consumption, I guess.
Councilor Hamilton.
It says here during the summer of 2010.
Yeah.
You know, how long of a period was this water running?
It was a spike in a one billing cycle period. So it was a one incident, one time.
So over two
Over
months.
2 months, yeah. I can't say exactly when that consumption happened to the date. We just have a 2 month period.
But it also says here the burst was before the meter.
Exactly. So
it did not affect my water consumption. So if it didn't affect her water consumption, then how come?
It's not making sense.
So her claim is that the meter was faulty.
Yes.
And we can't prove that it wasn't.
Exactly.
So, Your Worship, to Lori, is $535, is this the amount of money that is above what she would normally spend for that period of time?
No, the 535 is the charge for that total bill. So
I'm going to repay that.
a regular bill would be, 135, 150 in and around there. I don't have the exact numbers with me, unfortunately.
Your Worship, I wonder if we might, we don't know what triggers we're dealing with. That's one of the issues that we have here. I'd like to know I'd like to know two things actually. One, I'd like to know if this lady's got house insurance that would cover these costs, and two, what the actual cost that she's wanting returned is.
I'm assuming she wants the whole thing returned, is that correct?
That was her request.
Why?
Well, we payment.
No, it can't do that.
I would like to hear an average of her bills, especially over the summer, so that we could reduce that off of the $535. I think whether she has house insurance or not is immaterial, simply for the fact that if she claims this on her house insurance, then her house insurance goes up and she starts paying more money yearly for that.
Yeah. But, and the other utility companies, I've argued with TELUS and with the gas companies, they don't care. They just don't care, and I don't want to be that harsh, but I mean, it is what it is, we can't determine that, no matter what we do. Anyway, so we're asking this to be delayed?
Yeah,
Postpone?
adjourned, until the next council meeting.
Can you have an answer for us by then? Thank you.
Thanks.
I will promise to get you in early that night.
Yes. And we'll have administration not make this meeting so long.
Thank you.
8G, I'm going to request that.
I'd like to withdraw that item.
Thank you. 8H. Councilor Sullivan.
Yes. Your Worship, it seems to me that Town Council, through no fault of their own, tend to focus on many of the negative issues or problems far too often. As I was driving through Strathmore a couple of weeks ago, it occurred to me that we have a great deal to be thankful for in this town, and that there are lots of people out there who are responsible for making this town an absolutely great place to live in. I'd like to propose that we begin a tradition of paying tribute to people or groups that Council feel are instrumental in improving Strathmore in a significant manner. I move that at the first council meeting of each month, one member of council on a rotational basis name a person or a group that they feel has made significant efforts in improving Strathmore. It suggested a short description of their efforts be provided and that all council acknowledge this person at this party. It's also suggested that this be followed up with a letter to the person or group acknowledging this accomplishment and signed by the mayor on behalf of council. I'd also suggest that this group or person be referred to as council citizen of the month. And if approved, I do have a recommendation for the first citizen of the month for the month of March.
Any questions of Councilor Sobel? If not, that's a motion. Councilor Sobel?
It is, I didn't make that motion.
Thank you. You all heard the motion, all in favor? Motion carried.
And then I'll just continue on. Since the ice at Kinsman Lake was safe to venture on, Chief Mir Furzer and the Strathmore Fire Department have diligently taken upon themselves to prepare this area as a local destination. Their efforts include, but were not limited to, cleaning the snow off the potential skating areas, securing and operating generously donated Zambonis to ensure the ice surface was clean and smooth, and as well with securing and installing hockey nets which allowed for the odd game of shinny. Certainly many weekends have already been filled with hundreds of skaters on these surfaces. The efforts have resulted in a place for families, youth, and basically everyone to gather, enjoy some exercise, and generally have a great day. The results were no more evident than on February 21st, Family Day, which saw about 1,000 people in attendance, most of which ventured onto that very ice surface at least once. Strathmore Fire Department was instrumental in ensuring Family Day was a success and spent many voluntary hours ensuring that would be the case. That came as no shock to me, as they've been doing this all winter long. I consider their contribution to the town of Strathmore to be very significant, and I have no hesitation with naming the Strathmore Volunteer Fire Department as Councillor's first Citizen of the Month for the month of March 2011.
Thank you. We don't need motions on that.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very good. Any comments? Not. Move on to 8I, the Storm Hockey Team. Administration, can you give me some background on it, or do you want me to speak to it? The Storm Hockey Team was one of the Strathmore hockey teams that was at the Kelowna Winter Games, the Junior Winter Games for the children. They did such a great job that I mentioned it to the managers, the owners of the station. So they invited the Storm Hockey Team down there for a free meal for all the kids, their parents, and just for the children, and drinks, and that's drinks as in pop. And all the council wants to come, and administration, to congratulate them on what a great job they've done. And I thought that was very kind of for those folks to do that. They just did a great job, and I want to really thank them for that. And people want to be there, so please come, because they are well represented the whole community. It's unbelievable. So it's just something for the public to know, and I hope that the press will be there too. And that was on the
March 23rd.
March 23rd at 5:30. So
please let me know so that I can make sure we have enough seats.
also on March, Thursday, the council has been invited to serve, and this may get some controversy, but also at the station, serve drinks on St. Patrick's Day, and Dwight has kindly put his name in, and we're hoping council can also be there with us, and all the proceeds we hope are going to be donated to the Centennial Committee. Yes.
Can I wear my kilt?
Certainly, you can wear anything as long as.
And your worship, your name is going to be Obrechik?
Yeah. So as many councilors can make it, please let me know. It's going to be a fun night from 6 to 9, and all of the profits will be donated to the, hopefully, Centennial Committee, unless somebody else has some better ideas. Thank you. And 8J, travel. As administration addressed that.
In our policy, it shows that if it's for like a conference, say AUMA, FCM, it doesn't need to come to council if it's budgeted for. But an item that is not like the AUMA, FCM, has to come to council. And we have two here in particular that I wanted to bring up tonight. It's for the mayor and Dave Hamilton to go to the President's Summit of Energy. It's sponsored by the AUMA. It's in Fort McMurray on May the 10th through the 12th, and learn about the energy sector's opportunities and challenges as they pertain to the municipal government. So anyway, that's one of the claims I wanted to bring forth, and then I'll do the other one now too. The other one is the city of Calgary, through their Calgary Economic Development Authority, have talked to us about a conference they went to. It's a business conference. It's been held overseas all the years except for last year. Last year, it was held in Winnipeg, and Calgary Economic Development Authority went to Winnipeg to do it. This year, it's being held in Kansas City, and on this particular conference, ahead of time, you decide which categories you want to have, and they'll set meetings up for you, a minimum of 16 half-hour meetings. And if the town of Strathmore said, we're looking for a food processor, or we're looking for, I don't care, metal manufacturer of some kind or whatever, we send it in, and then they line meetings up for the half hour to clients, and the clients are from all over the world. And anyway, this particular one's coming up. And like I mentioned, the Calgary Economic Development Authority, we're looking for municipalities around Calgary to participate in it. Also, they're hoping, if all goes well, the city of Calgary would like to try and get it in the next year or two in the city of Calgary, which would be a great benefit to the area. So I'm sure that Calgary Regional Partnership and others will be involved in this as well. So the recommendation is for the mayor and myself to go to the 2-day meeting, business meeting in Kansas City.
You know, heard all the recommendations. Any questions from council? We need motions, of course.
Yeah, I think that both of them are very worthwhile events to attend. We during the election campaign, there was a lot of talk about hiring an economic development officer, and we simply just couldn't afford to do it. And I think that our present mayor and also our CAO are both very knowledgeable in what this community is about, what it needs, how to promote it, how to sell it. I think that that's still a way better deal than ever hiring an economic development officer, and a lot cheaper. And I would fully support these two trips because manufacturers are not going to come here looking for land. If we don't go out there and promote Strathmore, we're just not going to go anywhere. We're not going to grow. And we have a lot of land that we want to sell and get manufacturing going, get higher commercial going, get residential going, and anytime we can get commercial or industrial business to set up here, that also increases the residential growth. So I am in full support of that, and I hope that we get some out of it.
Any further comments? Not I'd like to.
Well, Your Worship, I just want to add that we drastically cut back on sending people to the FCM. So this way we can, send a smaller delegation to, again, try to draw business and things to the community.
Thank you. I'm confident, and there's no great promises, but if you don't put your name out there and promote yourself, I agree with Councillor Rempel, and the traveling is not a big deal to me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not there for the travel. I'm there for the community. I just don't. I don't like airports and I don't like planes, so I just should stay home. But I'm doing it for the community. Love to do it and do it my best shot. So I'm looking for a motion to accept this and move forward.
I'll make the motion that those two economic development trips be approved.
Thank you. Here's the motion. All in favor? Motion carried. There's nothing of administration. 10A, committee reports, page 38. I believe there's nothing there. Do we have any?
Oh, yes, we have lots.
What do you want to do? We can go over tonight.
You bet.
Holy moly. Sorry, Ed, I forgot that. That's great. All right. Economic development, go ahead, Stanford.
Okay. So far to date, as of today, we have 29 building permits. The construction value went up quite a bit. We're up to $1,351,482. If you remember last month, it was quite a bit lower than that. 8 single-family homes in the past month, 5 commercial renovations, and then the balance there were several smaller projects on basements, that type of thing. And today we have issued 577 business licenses, so there's still some more to come in, but that's a pretty good number this quick in the year.
Thank you. No questions? B, Strathmore Municipal Library?
Yes, Your Worship. They started a team program on February 23rd, 11, trying to get more young people involved in coming to the library. We've been talking about possibly looking at expansion. Basically, the library is undersized for the size, for the population of the town we have. So we are looking at plans to examine possibly expanding into the north part of the parking lot. We have found the old plans that show that expansion, but that'll be something that'll be coming up later. And I think there are plans, I spoke to Jesse, plans to look at replacing skylights, fixing windows and leaks in the springtime. That's it.
Thank you. What happens on Councillor Hamilton?
February 17th, union negotiation meeting was held at the county offices for Dempsey's proposal was discussed among the board members. This proposal is to be presented to the union on March 17th, 2011. February 22nd, the regular meeting of the board for redemption was held at the county office. A short meeting was held as there was little to discuss other than the chair's report and the operations director's report. Next meeting is scheduled for April 1st.
Thank you. Again, Councillor Best.
Unfortunately, I was unable to attend the meeting this month. I had to take my wife to the Foothills Hospital, and I give them a call, and Eric understood and said that was fine. Their next meeting will be the second Tuesday at 1:15.
Thank you. Councillor Rempel and Best, Councillor Best, WFCSS.
Well, the meeting was held Thursday, February 23rd. WFCSS wage grid was reviewed by the board and will be gone over and brought back to the board. Funding proposal requests were presented to the board again. There will be a couple of requests still to be heard, and at that time the board will make decisions on the successful candidates for funding. A discussion was had regarding disaster services and as of the results of the January storm and our state of emergency. FCSSAA, that's their convention, was discussed as to where the location of the venue should be. Presently it's held in Edmonton, and they're looking at going on much the same premises as AUMA and moving it back and forth between Calgary and Edmonton. The FCSS provincial funding was reviewed, and the next meeting will be held Thursday, March the 24th at 7 p.m.
And there was also a budget meeting early on in the month, I believe it was on February 4th, and the budget should be coming next meeting for approval.
Thank you. Councillor, Week on Housing, Councillor Best, Councillor Gill.
Your Worship, I was at the meeting on February 17th. Two main points that came up. Number one, the lodge received a 99% on its inspection, and the lady doing the inspection said it was the cleanest lodge that she's seen in years. So big congratulations to the people running the place and to the head of the lodge, CAO Shirley Reinhardt. And we decided to look at renovating and replacing things in the kitchen. We're looking at a new floor lights, ceiling, steam tray, steamer, and part of that is going to be to improve the heat of the food for the seniors and to hold the heat longer. So that's going to be coming in the spring. It should help the seniors a great deal, and the kitchen staff, I think, are going to really enjoy it. Next meeting is March 10th.
Thank you. Bob Garver, you're up next. Handy Bus Association, Council Welcome. Not here. Anybody speak for him? No, not. Chamber of Commerce, Councillor Hamilton.
February 28th, 2011 Chamber of Commerce meeting has been rescheduled for March 7th, 2011 due to inclement weather.
Councillor Fuel, Gabriel Society.
Now, the last meeting was a Board of Directors meeting. I was not there. They did not request my presence, but I will be going to the next one. They still have me.
Family Center Advisory Committee, Councillor Doble.
The regular scheduled meeting for February is canceled.
Community Futures, Wild Rose, Councillor Best.
Your Worship, I was unable to attend the meeting as I was at the emergency ward of the hospital with my wife.
Communities in Bloom, Councillor Hamilton.
February 15th, Communities in Bloom meeting held at Council Chambers, the numerous committee heads making reports.
Kinsman Lake Committee, Councillor Hamilton, Councillor Fuel.
Kinsman Lake Committee, as far as I know, no official committee exists. However, there's been meetings held by the fire chief and other concerned citizens due to the odor coming from the lake due to decaying vegetation. I think that's been addressed.
Names Advisory Committee, Councillor Rempel and Councillor Best.
No meeting held.
Bow River Council, we're welcome, not here. United Way.
That's me.
Sorry, still got the old, yeah. Sorry.
Bow River Council meeting is scheduled for March 9th, 2011 in Calgary, which is their quarterly meeting.
Could we change it to them? Councillor Hamilton's on Bow River Council, and United Way is now Councillor Blokeland, and he's not here. Calgary Regional Partnership. There's a meeting coming up in March, and I've asked Councillor Sokol to attend that with me. And Councillor Hamilton, if you so wish.
And you want me to go on transportation for CRP? Steering committee meeting was held on February 24th in Cochrane. Both Tammy Henry, our Director of Planning and Development, and I were present. It was a great overview of the role of this committee and a number of presentations pertaining to where things were heading. Some additional information was received in regards to our upcoming transportation feasibility study, which was approved by council. As there's now more than one group who can do this study for the projected costs, a formal request for proposal will be drafted in order to ensure the town receives the best product for the dollars being spent.
SWAT, Councillor Sobel.
SWAT group met February 3rd. As I was out of the country, I didn't attend. A decision was made, however, to host a SWAT table once again at the Heritage Days this summer at Curling Rink. The group agreed they would focus on one project for this year, and that would involve positive ticketing. General idea of this project is to have an appointed group of people in Strathmore identify youths who are engaged in positive activities and reward them. It's possible that the town will be asked to contribute to this project, as one sought after reward might be passes to the swimming pool.
Citizens on Patrol, Councillor Hamilton.
Citizens on Patrol meeting was held February 10th at Town Office with various reports given. New members were introduced and instructions on filling out notebooks were given, and so the financial report was given.
Irrigation Committee, Councillor Rempel.
Weekly meetings have been held by the committee, and on February 16th, the committee held an open house at the Civic Center and had a good turnout. People that were looking to continue with residential irrigation. I believe the support there was 60 people or so that were wanting it to continue. And as of the end of February, the committee was dissolved, and whether they will continue on with their meetings or not, I don't know, but I've been informed that the council will no longer be part of that committee as it's been dissolved by council. So,
Financial Audit Committee, Councillor Best and Councillor Hamilton. Centennial Day and Time Council Committee, Councillor Sobel.
Centennial Day Committee met on February 7th. The discussion was had in regards to the benefits of having a legacy park, which is still unnamed at downtown location, and the need for committee members to support decisions made by the majority. Plans have been designed, and neighbors on both sides of the park are very much in favor of this site. It was decided that a parking stall would be utilized for the location of the clock, which has now been ordered, and that the face of the clock will in fact be the logo, which is on the Centennial pin. Final arrangements were made for Family Day, and I would add there was over 1,000 attendees for the Family Day celebration. A lot of people volunteered their time, and they've been thanked officially in both of our local newspapers. Much discussion was had in regards to July 2nd and 3rd celebrations, and efforts continue ensure this exciting weekend. First meeting for the Fall Gala subcommittee will be held later in March.
And don't ever phone me when I'm up the ladder. Museum Committee, I don't believe this was, are they restructured?
Yes, we've had one meeting so far.
Okay.
On February 23rd, Al West and Grant Cliver had arranged to have some SAIT students involved in video recording, interviewing of some seniors. Councillor Hamilton, were you at that?
No,
I wasn't either at a teachers convention. Our next meeting is set for March 31st.
Winter Games Committee, who's on that? Is it ever start? So, Councillor, Museum Committee, Councillor Fuel is on that then, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and Councillor Hamilton. So let's put those names in for next time. That's it for council reports.
Your Worship, if I may, just one last information, Victim Services Annual Charity Golf Tournament will be held on June 17, 2011. Our fourth annual, with proceeds to be donated to the Strathmore Parks Department to purchase pensions as part of the centennial celebrations. Just for information.
What's that date again, please?
June 17th. It will be advertised.
The Green Energy Tour 12A, page 39.
Your worship, I would move that council accept the committee reports as information.
All in favor? Carried. Green entry to page 39, sorry.
I move that council accept the information from Drayton Valley with regards to the green energy cures information.
Thank you. I'll hear the motion. All in favor? Carried. Boys and girls club fundraiser, page 44.
All these kids. The 18?
No.
Hopefully it's a fundraiser with adults, is what you're saying?
Can they even do that?
Do like a liquor license.
I don't. We better be careful there.
This is for all the parents, and it's open to the town. This fundraiser.
Apparently it was done in Justin, so it should work here too.
Your worship, I would move that council accept this as information and those willing to participate be in contact with administration.
Thank you. We all heard the motion. All in favor? Carried. We're looking for an adjournment.
Just before.
What? There's no more further discussion.
I move to adjourn.
All in favor? Carried.